Okay, good morning, one all. Today is Tuesday, the 24th of September, 2019, and let me bring up my charts. So yeah, let's get this show on the road. Here to teach, not preach. So let's see what the market is saying today. Again, if you don't know, my name is Ray from Next Forex Trade. And if you like what you're seeing in these videos, don't forget to subscribe so you can get notifications, and you can also ask questions whilst I'm live streaming as well. So let's kick off. If you're not familiar with the strategy, just quick overview. Basically, it's a trend based strategy. So the first thing we're always looking for is a trend in the daily chart based on lower lows, lower highs. And we're looking if it's a downtrend for the price to be overbought. So we're looking, use a standard deviation. We want the price to be in a near upper edge of our standard deviation. If it is a uptrend, then it's a reverse. We want to see higher highs, higher lows using a standard deviation. We want to see the price nearer the lower edge of the standard deviation. Having established that on the daily, we're then looking for time frame correlation. So we want to see the lower time frames doing a very similar thing. So if it's a downtrend on the high trend on the daily, we want to see the same thing on the lower time frames. So lower lows, lower highs on all the other time frames. So let's kick off looking at AUDCAD. So AUDCAD, we can see at the moment is very bearish, lower lows, lower highs. It's been in an overbought area here where it was countering the previous resistance, and it was in the upper edge of our standard deviation channel as well. It's moved away from that. It's still very, very bearish. It's moved away from that previous lower high. So really, if you were to get in on this, for me, it's a matter of timing at the moment. If we use the 4-hourly and the hourly for some guidance, can see it could ideally pull back a little bit. If it was to pull back to our standard deviation, see some reversal candles off of this type of level. It's the same on the hourly here, around here. This would allow us for a much better entry in terms of value for money. So seeing a reversal candle for this type of level, it would mean a stop loss ideally above this high here, because that would be the lower high on the daily as well, above that resistance, that troublesome area. So the stop loss would be nicely out of the way of that trouble, and we've got a clear indication of where we're wrong. And then obviously that would mean, you know, one-to-one reward to risk would be around roughly these kinds of areas here, around here, which stacks as a trade. That would be good enough. But at the moment, yeah, AUDCAD, it really just needs to pull back a bit more, in my opinion. See some interaction with the kind of standard deviation, either on the 4-hourly or the hourly. That's viably could happen today. It could happen a bit later in the week, but yeah, something to look out for. So next one, AUDCAD. What's going on with this? So yeah, I'd be bearish on this overall, but wouldn't be looking to take any positions just yet. Actually, this has kind of caught my eye. So looking, although in the grand scheme of things, so if we were to take this based on what weekly was saying, then this would definitely look bearish. And we can see on the daily, which is the chart I've got here, you know, that is echoed as well. But the price is retracing what we could deem a retrace at the moment as well. So the reason why I kind of paused on this one was because of the most recent price action here in this move, which is also captured in the 4-hourly. Does look kind of viable to trade. I mean, we can see we've got this bullish move here. Standard deviation has found. Just need to see how significant that is. Bear with me. Sorry for the pauses as well. Again, a lot of the time I'm just going through my thought process as I see these for the first time mostly, and speaking that through with you. So what I'm doing at the moment is just seeing how significant that area of support could be to deem how much further the price could move up, and whether that's a significant amount of support for a basis of a stop loss. I would leave this at the moment, because although there's some good signs here in that there's this bullish move here, it's interacted with our standard deviation, and it's found support off of it and started to move away. It's just not, it's not a massively significant area of support. This support doesn't really go back that far. I mean, there's this area here where there was a previous resistance, but what I'd prefer to see is multiple areas of contact in both support and or resistance, and we're not seeing that on these other time frames. So yeah, I would pass on this for now, although yeah, in the short term I'd be quite bullish in terms of where this price could move, so at least to attack these previous highs here. There's not enough weight behind what the price is doing to do that just yet, in my opinion, so move on. Okay, sorry, just checking my live stream is working. Yeah, cool. All right, so next let's have a look at this one, AUDCAD. Yeah, bearish overall. It's a very similar story to the previous one we were talking about, where this has some context now. Obviously they're same crosses, so they're going to move very similar crosses, so they're going to move similar ways. But yeah, I'd have a reservation to taking this short or long. If I was going to short this, same thing as I think it was with the AUDCAD we looked at. I want to see it come back and find some more value for money around these levels here. Although, let's just have a look at this. It's a bit of limbo at the moment because this move here has some context on the daily. So this would be this move on the 4 hourly. It's a bit of limbo. I would still be favoring the short in terms of this move here, but there is scope for this to the long side as well. And when there's kind of this indecisiveness, for me, it's just a clear sign, just wait and see rather than jump on the back, because it's a bit of limbo. Really, what would give a bit more context to the short would be the price on the 4 hourly moving back, finding some resistance, these previous highs here, which would also be near the standard deviation. It would mean the price breaking structure on the 4 hourly, but I'd be okay, sorry, on the hourly, but I'd be okay with that. So coming back to these highs here, just to see a bit more value. And to be honest, there's probably easier stuff to trade in the market right now. So I would just wait and see how this one develops before considering a short, and just look to other stuff in the market really to trade in preference to that. AUD/USD, be bearish on this overall. Again, I would prefer to see a bit more value in this before shorting. The trouble with this at the moment is that the most logical pace for a stop is above this previous lower high here. Probably mentioned this in yesterday's video. So we've got these nice lower highs here, lower lows here, and this was the most recent lower high. So for a trade that makes sense on multiple time frames in terms of where the stop loss placement would be, it would be a stop above this level. And the problem with that is that it stretches our one-to-one reward to risk way beyond these lows here. So you can see here, this is about 100 and let's call it 130 pips, and 130 pips one-to-one is roughly around here. That really doesn't stack because it's just it has to do too much to hit your take profit to make it a worthwhile trade. So this doesn't offer great value for me at the moment. You could trade this more aggressively based, say, on the hourly, and use a stop maybe above these highs here, or yeah, I wouldn't use these highs personally, but yeah, these highs here would allow for a slightly tighter stop loss. meaning that your take profit would be about 100. It's still very tight, because what I'm looking at is these previous lows here. Even with 100 pip stop loss, it would mean that the take profit is still like bang on these previous lows here. So that's based on the hourly. If we look at the daily, it's these lows here again. Not great value for money. So, and yeah, when trading, it's best really to look for the bargains, look for good value for money, so that you've got a higher probability of your trade coming through, as well as a higher probability of making money off of it as well. So let's move on. CAD CHF. No, it's way too choppy. Don't like this sideways. There's no discernible higher highs or higher lows. So pass. CADJPY. Yeah, I mean, we've got lower lows, lower highs in the daily. This I think was similar to the AUDCAD we looked at, where the 4 hourly has started to break the structure on its 4 hourly, on its standard deviation, so it's broken out of that in previous price action, and this has now more context. So this lower lows and lower highs. So this means that based on the daily, I'm already in a trade like this, I think, on the CHFJPY. It's a similar trade to this, but I'll look at this anyway just to give you some options. So the entry here would be stop losses above this lower high here. So this here is the price action with lower lows, sorry, lower highs here. These are the lower lows, and a stop above here would make sense because we can see that there's, firstly, it's the lower high. These areas here were giving support, previous resistance, previous zonal support. So stops above there make sense. It would be outside of the standard deviation by the time the price is likely to move along to those types of levels. So that makes sense in terms of the stop. 1-to-1 stacks as well, 1-to-1 reward to risk. So stop above here would be again about what, 100, let's call it 120 pips. 120 pips to the downside is roughly here, which is way before these previous lows, way before it's encountering the standard deviation lower edge. So that stacks. So yeah, if I went in already in a trade on a similar cross, I would be considering this to the short side, stops above this level, and 1-to-1 you could consider taking profits off, and obviously there's scope for beyond that as well. So yeah, CADJPY looks tradable for today, and like I said, if I wasn't already in something, it would be something I'd consider. And this is the one that I'm in, CHFJPY. So I've actually added to this position. So my initial entry was here, just not long before coming online here. I did take another position, so overall I've got around 2% in this. So the max I can lose from this is £200, but the profits potential is beyond that. It's about so what's the targets on these? One sec. 230, 144, so that's 370. So yeah, it's about 370 £370 that I am going to take profit, and 200 potentially loss. The take profit is quite arbitrary at the moment because I'm really just waiting on the price action to dictate how I'm going to take that out, but it's a sensible area. Obviously before these previous lows here, we'll just have to see how this pans out. But this is the premise of this entry is, again, some very bearish signs on the daily. 4 hourly kind of broke price structure in terms of it was giving this higher highs and higher lows. It is a bit of a hairy area here because it could find support off of here and start to move up again based on this, but I'm okay enough with the bearishness that was kind of momentum on the daily to consider shorting this. What I'm looking at now is this to have context. So this lower move here, the lower lows, lower highs, for this to start breaking these lows here would be a good sign in coming hours. And obviously the swaps on these aren't too bad, quite low, so I've got no reservation to holding this for now over a few days to see this come through. But yeah, we'll just have to see how this progresses. I'll come back to you tomorrow with any update. So Euro AUD next. No, I'd pass on this for now. That's some nice mid price action on the 4 hourly in terms of bearishness, but look at the daily. It's super bullish overall in the grand scheme of things. Higher lows, higher highs. So I would want to see clearer signs of bullishness on the 4 hourly, and as well this is starting to have some context here, but for me the problem was this previous move here. So it's really this previous lower high here in this context that I'd want to see broken, so to prove higher than that, giving reason to believe that it's going to break there and then come back and find some value on the lower edge or the average of our standard deviation. So for me, the pivotal point on this price to be considering going long is it breaking that level there, because it's also previous support here, zonal support, probably goes back as well, but I want to see it break through that and pull back and see some signs of reversal to allow for an entry to the long side. So yep, let's wait and see. So this is the other position I'm in, EURCAD. Bearish on this overall. Yep, it's nicely within our standard deviation here. Captured the same move in the 4 hourly. Hourly is also starting to, showing some nice signs. I mean, this is going to be a troublesome area, it looks like, where it's currently started to flatten out. You can see it finding support there, which is to be expected. We've seen this area here was quite zonal, these areas here. So pushing lower than that will be a good sign that overall my take profit could be hit as well. Again, this is just 1% on this at the moment. I would, I'd ideally like to scale into this as well, so add another 1% into it. But really what I'd want to see it firstly do is break these lows and then pull back to our standard deviation, the higher edge of that, see some reversals off of that, and that would allow a nice entry for a second position. So to take the risk in total up to 2%. And I mean, just eyeballing that, that's, well, don't need to eyeball it. So it's about 1. So it's almost 2%. So it's almost 2 to 1 as it stands in terms of the reward to risk. But yeah, definitely looking for opportunities to scale into this. But again, just wait and see. Euro CHF. No, not at the moment. Bearish overall, but it's just, I'm just looking at where the stop loss would be. For me, it would need to be above this previous lower high here, and it would just be too wide. It would take the take profit target way down here. Just asking a bit too much of the market. It would need to break this support here and create new lower lows. Better stuff out there to trade. Euro GBP, no, the price action isn't great to read on that. So this is Euro JPY. Yeah, I mean, I won't labour the point. This is something we've covered it in very similar JPY crosses, and there's better stuff out there in my opinion. In case of it needing to pull back and find some value, I reckon, to make this viable to the short side. So yeah, shorts stops above this, the previous day's the daily lower high, but just I would look for better value for money in the 4 hourly. So for it to pull back and see a reversal candle off of the upper standard deviation, so pass on that. This isn't great price action, so pass on that. This here is the Euro USD. Bearish overall because of this move. Same problem really, encountering where to place a stop loss based on the daily, and the price is just too far gone. It's too late in its move to consider shorting this now. It's almost approaching the previous low here, so if you were to short now, you'd be selling into that support. You don't want to sell into support, you want to sell off a resistance. So this as well gives the same problem of the stop loss having to be up here to be in a sensible place based on the daily, and it would mean so let's call that 100 and 120 give or take. 120 here, it would be take profit at this kind of level. Not great. It would need to break previous lows, break support, create a new low for you to hit even one-to-one reward to risk. So this doesn't stack for me at the moment either, so pass on that. No, immediately this price action isn't great, so I don't really need to look at that anymore. This is the GBP CAD. Yeah, I mean, this move has started to see some context. It's a bit of a tricky area. This where this previous high here, it's encountering previous zonal support, resistance. So yeah, I wouldn't be thinking to go long on this, especially because it's overbought here as well. So seeing it come back and see some value here, perhaps maybe consider the longs depending on what the lower time frames are saying at that point. It's not great for considering shorts at the moment, just on the way this has developed. It is in an overbought area in terms of standard deviation, but you know, to short this, there's too much context to this retrace here. Let me just have a quick look at this. No, it's not significant. Okay, I was just seeing how significant that retrace level was in terms of a Fibonacci retrace. Not too much, so I'm going to pass on that. But yeah, just wait. There's better stuff out there to trade, ready covered. So when that's the case, why waste your money trying to eke a trade out of something that isn't there? This is a GB CAD, which I think we already looked at, so it's the same thing. GBP CHF, yeah, all the GBP pairs so far are kind of looking like this, kind of retracing. Pound is getting a bit more strong across the board, but I can't really see any immediate trades because of this pending resistance that the price is just encountering. Although this move here is very bullish, you know, on the lower time frames, it could, as it approaches these previous highs here, find resistance again, which limits the scope to the upside. So I'd be hesitant to really attempt going long on any of these. Same story here. Yeah, pass on that. Pass on that. Cable. Yeah, pass on that for same reasons. NZD CAD. Bearish overall. Using the daily though, this was the most recent lower high. Doesn't make sense to have a stop loss that high, that far away. It's just too much, too far off the recent price action. It's too far gone in this extension, or like a extension move that it's made here. So it needs to pull back and find some value, create a new lower high, giving a new context for a stop loss, and a tighter stop. So at the moment, bearish on this, but just need better value for money. So it needs to pull back, retrace a bit before considering shorts. So next we've got NZDJPY. Yeah, same thing. It's too far gone in this move for me. And I mean, yeah, even the price action wasn't as great. Isn't as great on this. Could take this context here. But yeah, it's just too far gone. This was the most recent, excuse me, this was the most recent lower high, so we'd want to see it pull back some more and see reversals before considering shorts on that. So pass. Yeah, too far gone. Stop would need to be up here. This was the most recent lower high. Although, yeah, that's pretty neat. Yeah, now I won't go into that one. There is a possible play on that, but it's just stay consistent with the trading strategy that we've talked about. So no for that one. USD CAD, no. USD CHF, no. It's just tricky. It's kind of a limbo at the moment. This move here is very bullish, represented on the 4-hourly. This move here, but there's this problem here. I wouldn't really want to go long on this at the moment because of this pending resistance that we see here that is actually quite strong area across the board. This previous lower high, sorry, this previous resistance here, this previous high, zonal support there. So the price, yeah, it goes back. The price could find a lot of trouble moving much higher than this, which is why it wouldn't be a great idea to be long. And in the same breath, I wouldn't want to be short on this just yet because of this. There's no break in structure in terms of this bullish move here. It hasn't moved past, say, this previous lower high here. It hasn't started to cycle down either. So it's limbo. Yeah, wouldn't want to go long, wouldn't want to go short yet either. So pass. And lastly, let's have a look at USD/JPY. Same story as that last one we looked at. It's a lot of resistance that we're seeing. Those previous highs there. This has a lot of context in terms of bullishness, but overall the daily saying bearish for me. So I would, yeah, going long, there isn't enough scope to the upside in terms of profit, and going short, there isn't enough confirmation that it's going to continue with the bearishness. So pass. And yes, Bitcoin. So all right, that's it for today. So again, if you like what you're seeing in the video, have any questions, feel free to leave some comments, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel as well. And I'll see you again tomorrow for Wednesday's overview. See you then. Bye.